Kathy Engelbert is just not in a good spot. And we talked about it in a previous video, how Adam Silver came out and he kind of backed Kathy. Kathy also said in her public statement that she is not going anywhere. She's never been one to quit on anything, and she is going to build back the relationships that need to be mended. But one of the biggest sticking points seems to be on this revenue sharing.
WNBA is officially in crisis mode. Sponsors are panicking, executives are scrambling, and late-night emergency calls are flooding in, all because of one explosive issue, the Caitlin Clark fallout. What started as controversy has now turned into a full-blown business problem. Millions of dollars are reportedly at risk as sponsors demand answers, accountability, and in some cases, refunds. This situation has crossed the line from drama to disaster. Before we break down how this meltdown began, why sponsors are furious, and how panic is spreading throughout the league, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and let's jump straight into this unbelievable story. Over the past few months, something shocking has been unfolding behind the scenes. Brands that once proudly aligned with the WNBA began asking uncomfortable questions. Why did the league suddenly feel different? Why were ratings slipping when momentum should have been at an all-time high? Why did the excitement feel like it was fading? Every road led back to the same source, and the answers are sending shockwaves through women's basketball.
She's done. Honestly, this woman, she just alienated a huge portion of her fan base. You should see, I tweeted about this, and my Twitter feed is littered with people saying, I'm done with her. I'm over her.
It all traced back to one name, Caitlin Clark. Sponsors were watching closely. They saw the narrative battles, the backlash, the rising tension, and the questionable treatment both on and off the court. What should have been a moment of celebration turned into controversy. What should have fueled growth instead created division. And little by little, without headlines or announcements, sponsors began to pull away.
Energy out of the fans and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the WNBA, but the good news is her career is not over. But you know, it's a tough blow when it all comes crashing down like that. And you know, ever since Stephanie White's presser the other day, where she talked about how Clark had not taken contact practice,
then everything changed. One major sponsor made a single call, saying it was time to reconsider their investment. That one call set off a chain reaction. Not hundreds walking away, but dozens suddenly asking questions, requesting meetings, demanding transparency, pressing for numbers, guarantees, and clarity. And what did the WNBA feel? Silence, distance, uncertainty. Executives froze. Panic spread, because when one sponsor hesitates, 10 more start watching closely. Then came the moment that sent shockwaves through the room. Some sponsors reportedly asked a dangerous question. If this partnership falls apart, what happens to the money? Refunds? Renegotiation? Buyouts? One word changed everything: refund. Millions of dollars were suddenly on the line. Money the WNBA cannot afford to give back. Because refunds don't just mean loss, they mean debt. Picture executives staring at contracts past midnight. Picture emergency calls no one wants to make. Picture leadership trying to contain a fire that's only growing hotter. This was no longer a controversy. It was a financial crisis unfolding in real time.
These are numbers when people talked about at the beginning of the season, the high tide lifts all boats or whatever, basically. Like, if you buy into this, everybody is going to eat. Yet you had people fighting tooth and nail the entire season, not wanting it to be this way because other people weren't getting flowers, or she was getting too much attention, or she gets a special whistle, or I'm gonna check her off the ball here just because. And then her teammate cheers for her for throwing her on the ground. It didn't get better. And it's disappointing to me because it's not every player in the WNBA. And I'm sure that there are many players who are happy to have her in the league. And it's like, if it was my league and somebody was coming in and bringing millions of people, like, I would be excited about that, because you know what? That's a chance for me to impress millions of people who weren't.
The center of it all was Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest draw, its strongest ratings driver, and its most powerful moment maker in years. Sponsors didn't step back because of her. They panicked because of how she was being handled. Not protected, not promoted, not supported the way a generational star should be. Fans noticed it. Brands noticed it. The entire sports world noticed it. And with every new controversy tied to her name, every time drama overshadowed the game, every time her treatment on the court raised eyebrows, sponsors began saying the same thing. This isn't what we invested in.
Adam Silver has been seeing this nonsense just like all of us, and he's actually called certain things out. He's called things out like, yeah, Kathy needs to work to have a better relationship with the players. He said that. He's also said, yeah, it seems like things are getting a little bit like really personal. You know what I'm saying? It's getting real catty and personal, as things tend to get when women get to going back and forth and all of this stuff. Adam Silver stepping in and saying, hey, I'm going to make sure that there's a 2026 WNBA season. I'm going to make sure this CBA gets done, and I'm going to make sure it's fair for both parties. This whole revenue sharing thing.
Then came the Team USA conversations, the roster decisions, the mixed messaging, the unanswered questions, and suddenly the panic doubled. How did the league go from celebrating the biggest breakout star in years to facing a meltdown over how she was being used? Sponsors were stunned. Executives had no answers. The pressure reached the very top. Meetings turned into the same urgent questions. What is happening? Who approved this? Why are we risking everything? Now the WNBA is scrambling, trying to calm sponsors, control the narrative, and convince everyone they're still in charge. But the reality is clear. The Caitlin Clark news cycle cracked the system. It exposed weaknesses, revealed blind spots, and forced leadership to confront the consequences of their own decisions. And now sponsors are delivering an ultimatum. Fix this, or we're out. Some are even adding one final line. And if we leave, we want our money back. That's not a warning. That's a threat.
Over. It's over. It's not a small thing for ownership to not back their representative. That's what a commissioner is primary, a spokesperson for the owners. Yikes. The WNBA's financial growth is incurring more favor for Engelbert in a sign that is much more than just typical player-owner tension. Collier has what Collier has exposed is that in her 6 years as commissioner, Engelbert hasn't amassed significant favor from either side of the proverbial aisle. So with the players or the owners, neither one of them are big fans of her. She's screwed. She's screwed. Chief among the complaints, according to multiple sources, are her people skills. She's not the easiest communicator to reach. As the head of a socially active, politically engaged league, Engelbert isn't an ideal communicator, especially as it pertains to sensitive topics and moments. That's not a good sign. Because I've heard some rumors about a potential replacement, and it might get worse.
No matter how they try to spin it, the pressure is undeniable. Millions of dollars are on the line. Reputations are on the line. The future of the league is on the line. The WNBA is in full panic mode. Executives are frozen. Sponsors are pulling strings. And it all comes back to one unavoidable truth. When you mishandle your biggest star, you risk the entire league. This story isn't slowing down. This meltdown is only just beginning.